All right, let's go into picks and bans then. Find out exactly what's going to happen between these two teams. Who will be first picked? The answer is NRG Esports this time around. So do we expect any changes in the band at the start?
I wouldn't anticipate. Well, actually, there it is.
Okay.
They do not want to worry about the Ganesh silence in case. So it tells me that they're looking to pick up something else if they're opting to ban this out early on.
Yeah, I think Ganesh has just found himself a sweet spot in the Pro League now. I don't think he's overpowered, but he's definitely playable. Sets up a lot for his team with those silences. Causes a couple of issues in the team fights. If you can catch him in the wrong spot with those Dharmic pillars, really pins a team in place.
Those silences are so chaotic because you expect your team to have the follow-up damage. You're making the call-outs, and then suddenly nobody can use an ability. That's never any fun for the aggressing team. But I also like the Bologna, Osiris, and Fafnir bans coming through, which tells me that they are looking for something else to be played, and the Soul selection.
Yeah, Sol just slowly started to rise back to power in the mid lane now. Seems one of the safest mid lane mages. Obviously, it used to be back in the day. Scylla was the safest mid lane mage just because she had an escape. Now there's a few more mages starting to come along that have escapes as well, just like Sol, the Disapparate. The Cernunnos was banned by Burrito last game. They're going to get it for themselves along with Terra this game.
I actually like this dual lane composition that they're already opting for. There is a slight potential for the Kern to be going the way of the mid lane. I wouldn't really anticipate it. I'd much prefer to see Kespainify and Fusify trying to play this aggressive lane composition. And again, NRG with that Serqet and Geb this time. And I think that the Geb is scary. I don't think it'll be a Geb solo.
Why not? It could be Geb solo, right?
I don't think Dimi will play the Geb solo. I think that Dimi is just so proficient on those other utility-based warriors that I think that NRG would prefer to have him run one of those.
I was down for Geb solo until I saw the Nemesis locked in, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll leave him in the support role, you know? Otherwise, you're just going to get camped all day, every day in that solo lane if you try and run it there. Hoyi, Poseidon banned out. Back over to Burrito for their second ban. Really hitting onto emilitoo here with that Hoyi and Rama bans. Not surprising.
Not surprising at all. I mean, the Huyi in particular. And I think the Freya is an interesting ban out. So you could tell that NRG kind of concerned that this Kern was being looked at to be placed into the mid lane.
Yeah, a bit of homework being done by NRG Esports here. A little bit worried about maybe Burrito running that Freya in the mid or in the Hunter role and having Cernunnos in the other. So it's going to force Burrito to go for the Vulcan here for DeathPanter, not the Isis this time round. Why no Isis this time?
I think that the Vulcan still provides the same kind of objective control that you're looking for, but it has a little bit more survivability options, especially against the Serqet. That meatball is going to be great for deterring those team fights. And Skadi, that's a face we haven't seen too much of lately.
Isn't she dead?
She's still so strong.
Is she?
I think that her permafrost ability in particular, it can still deal a large amount of damage once, depending on what kind of build you opt to go into. And not to mention, it's just so annoying when you're ice skating.
That's true. That's true. Skating is causing a lot of issues for some teams in the past up against Skadi. Burrito have looked at Amaterasu here, so on paper, compositions both looking relatively solid here.
I would say that Burrito have a little bit more of that early game presence, which I think is going to be super beneficial to them, considering the early game is probably the best time to take that initial aggression onto NRG.
Sure. Well, into game we go. Some Wukong more than likely up against the solo lane Amaterasu here, and it will be that. Dimi will be playing the Sun Wukong as the early damage favors NRG thanks to Caldeir coming into play, and already I believe emilitoo's top of the damage charts.
And I mean, I like the Skadi pick into the Kern as well, just because a lot of what Kern wants to do is get close to you. Skadi kind of prevents that from happening, because if you get too close, then Caldeir is going to tear you apart.
Interesting again to see iRaffer going for that Brace of Undoing on the support role here, especially with the fact that, you know, you normally see a little bit more like Blink or Shell or Meditation or Sprint. Instead, a bit more pressure on mid lane yet again. Yammyn getting poked down early on, up against DeathPanter and Dzoni, adapting, and Yammyn will survive level 1 this time and not fall down in the minion wave, or will they? Because Yammyn is still being aggressed on, forced to Aegis, Blackfire is down. Dzoni was tanking up so many minions there. Luckily enough, he's back to the tower in time.
Kind of worked against him to an extent, and right now it's actually Burrito who are looking to aggress into the NRG buffs.
Don't think Ref is scared though, especially with Brace of Undoing. If they try and focus him down, and be like, okay, lol, heal back up. So red buff goes to emilitoo, Kespainify and Fusify in a lot of free damage here, thanks to the permafrost coming into play. Minion wave now in tow, level 2 for emilitoo here. Nice lead for the Hunter.
emilitoo almost had the body block there. Had he body blocked Fusify from entering the wave, I think that might have been a potential first blood for NRG, but luckily He squeezes by.
And they managed to pressure the mid lane out enough that they steal away the speed. Now they're looking for the blue buff. Is at the same time Yammyn going to get the elementals. Much better start for NRG here, Taco.
A significantly better start from NRG. And on top of that, I also think that NRG are playing this a little bit more safe because they don't want to get handled in the same way that they did, knowing that their composition is a little bit more mid to late game oriented because of this Geb selection.
Yammyn in mid going to just solo this wave down on his own and resustain back up. Is now speed back up for adapting to take its own. So a nice little win on the right-hand side for NRG overall here. Keeping on the itemization once again between these two teams as this develops, just to see any interest. And I'm looking at DeathPanter here. Looks like he's going Book of Toth early on.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's not a horrible choice for a Vulcan, but it can be a little bit greedy against a Serqet that's going to be looking to dive you so early on. And considering that Adapting is already level 5, I wouldn't be surprised to see him looking for an all-in pretty soon here.
We'll see what Adapting ends up doing with that one. As you said, he is level 5 already, and Sibi still at level 4 is an Amaterasu. We could see a bit of pressure out of Adapting, but for now he's just focusing on farm, making sure he rotates around the map and shares as much as possible to continue giving NRG this lead.
Yeah, everybody on NRG with a slight experience lead over the members of Burrito, which, like we talked about, it can be a little bit more risky for Burrito to fall behind early on because that's probably the most vulnerable time for NRG. And I also want to draw it back to the bracer on the Geb.
Yeah.
I think that this is just, it's greedy already on a Ganesh, but Ganesh at least you're constantly trying to poke in and you can dash in and look for the silences and play it aggressively. But for a Geb, that's not something you're used to seeing.
I kind of feel like it's there for the fact of the early game when supports get focused a lot. The first 10 minutes, it feels like it's very strong for that. But after that, kind of falls off in the amount of utility you're really going to get of it, unless... I guess when I think about it more, Bracer doing the late game is going to be useful as a support to get your cooldowns up again, so you can potentially save a teammate or re-engage, or, you know, just get an escape a little bit sooner. It's tricky.
It is tricky. But it's also just the risk factor because while Bracer is great for survivability, the initiation from NRG could be a little bit lacking because of that.
And they're going to rely a lot on adapting and eventually Dimi to be on the foreground for that and allow Geb to just shield them up, keep them tanked up if required. See as that one continues now. Still no kills in this game. Gold lead is still about 700-800 in favor of NRG, just based off the fact they got the first rotation of buffs in the jungle. The second one, though, is about to spawn for Burrito here on the right-hand side. Do we see NRG look for aggression again?
I wouldn't be surprised to see NRG look for the aggression. I mean, they have the opportunity to do so. They are leading in the experience charts. Their members are already fairly in position. And, yep, sure enough, already 4 people rotating on over to that speed buff.
Well, 4v3, as you can see in the lane. Sibi's still going to be a little bit late to this. Dimi's going to go aggressive, looking for Fusify with the Tiger. Didn't find it. Walls come down from Fusify. Good Vulcan ultimate, but already Fusify is wiped off the map. Dimi gets to his Sun Cloud in time to avoid some damage and regenerate back up. And now NRG, with the man advantage, start up the speed buff.
With the Vulcan ultimate already being expended, I'd imagine this to go the way of NRG, but they're looking for the kills instead. Sibi getting so low, but Dzoni nowhere left to go.
Nice ambush out of Adapting there just to be able to cut off the escape route and find that in hand. Speed drop down, 2 kills the way of NRG. Blue buff on the table for them too, and 2 members of NRG able to just return back towards mid lane and continue farming up.
That is such an unfortunate circumstance for Burrito. It's like they wanted to look for that potential contest. They just were not anticipating that sudden burst of damage from NRG.
Look at the difference in level between Adapting and Dzoni in the jungle here. They're both in the same jungle as they were last game, Taco, but the way the game starts can be so beneficial to a Serqet specifically for how quickly she can run away with it.
The pick is all that Adapting is going to be looking for yet again, and it's with the lead that he's already established for himself, and on top of that, he's got Dimi trailing right behind him with the level 8 as well. That side of the map is pretty much forfeit right now to NRG.
Well, purple buff fell down. Burrito stole that away just in time. Unfortunate for NRG, they're trying to defend that one. But a good answer for the duo lane, because you expect one lane to have to try and carry the others if you're falling behind in the game. Adapting, looking to pressure Sibi.
And I actually like looking at Adapting's active selection here. We're used to seeing Serqets play a little bit riskier with the blink. he opted for the survivability early on with the Aegis, so it's clear that he is concerned about Burrito trying to all-in him with that Nemesis Vulcan combination.
Yeah, not too worried about the CC options here, because the real CC that's going to be worried for him is the meatball coming out from Vulcan. Everything else, though, is generally roots, which means he can jump away from those or dash away from them using his Deathbane or his ambush anyway, so he doesn't need the beads. Getting the Aegis avoids all that burst.
It pretty much just slows, really, from Burrito as their form of CC, so I would anticipate NRG picking up a Wingblade or two. Maybe even looking at the Sprint Relic.
Do you reckon Sprint's going to be useful? I guess with 2 Hunters, definitely.
With 2 Hunters, I would think so, that it could be utilized in an effective manner, especially in the hands of NRG.
Well, we'll see where the relics go as they hit level 12 in a little bit of time. Only 6.5 minutes in. Nice substantial lead so far for the world champs. Emilitoo looking like he's going for a Transcendence build here on the Skadi, not the Shifter Shield.
I prefer the Transcendence build onto the Skadi just because of the mana.
Mana costs.
That's pretty much it. Skadi is so mana dependent.
Adapting, waiting in the wings here just to push DeathPanter back and make Dzoni have to rotate around instead. Obviously trying to keep them out of position so they can't aggress and get wave clear going anytime soon. Yammyn slips away as red buff is given over to Emilitoo in the dual lane once more. He'll be looking to box up against Kespainify if he can. Bad news is there's good wall coverage on that left-hand side. Right-hand side, Fusify's in a bit of trouble.
And Fusify is getting ulted now by adapting. They're looking to commit, and there's no way he survives this.
The poison didn't spread onto Dzoni there, but Johnny's still in an awkward spot. Dashes once, looking to dash again, but he walks straight into Dimi, who just hits him in the face, and down he goes. Sibi can only watch as now the speed buff is about to respawn. Left-hand side, not surprising to see Emilitoo fighting.
Sibi is gonna just have to fall back here unless he wants to fall down himself, and Yammyn's just got free reign to try and poke pressure onto that tower.
Does a good little chip down of damage too, as DeathPanter's just pinned there, meaning speed will fall for free to NRG. Blue buff, the next target on the list for adapting, and Dimi's also there to collect his rewards for that too, as iRaffer continues to do the elemental. So it's just win-win-win. When I keep looking at energy, I'm like, yep, they're getting this, yep, they're getting that. It's all good stuff.
I mean, in game number 1, they had that rough start against Burrito, but Burrito aren't the only ones that have something to learn from NRG. Sure. NRG can also learn from their past mistakes in the first game, and they've taken it in stride, and they're pretty much in solid control of this game.
You saw the quick rotation coming out from iRaffer there with that rollout towards the Gold Fury. They were a little bit concerned Burrito were going to start that up for a moment, but they were just getting the oracles and getting the vision for themselves, so NRG have an eye on that. But Kespainify a little bit overextended here. Under pressure now from Emilitoo. Great beads from him to avoid the wild hunt. Return damage was solid though coming out from Kespainify, so it slowed Emilitoo down. But in the jungle, there's still a fight going.
And there's still DeathPanter unable to escape from Yammyn, who just cuts off his route of escape. Fusify being looked at now, able to get underneath this T1 tower pretty safely. But 4 ultimates expended on the side of Burrito in comparison to the 2 from NRG.
And with DeathPanter falling down in mid lane, look how Sibi's now rotated towards this mid lane to try and support his team, which is giving Dimi free farm on this right-hand side. In the end, he does get the right harpies, and NRG just going to fall back, not continuing to try and pressure that tier 1 tower.
The ult from Fusify is the only reason why Kespainify was able to survive against Emilitoo's aggression. I think that Emilitoo would have taken that 1v1 pretty easily had it not been for that.
Okay, settle a debate, right? Who is the best hunter to 1v1 with? Is it Skadi, because she used to be great? Ho Yi and her?
AMC.
Cernunnos?
AMC.
It's always AMC.
AMC
After
is,
AMC then,
he is so ridiculously strong when it comes to a pure 1v1, no interruptions. And then after AMC, it's kind of up in the air. A lot of the hunters can take kills off of each other depending on who just gets ahead, who gets the items first kind of deal.
In this matchup, if they were both even level right now and they both have the same build, who would you favor here, Skadi or Cernunnos?
Skadi.
Yeah?
I don't value Kern that highly.
Really?
I really don't. I think that he still does a solid amount of damage that could probably be a little bit out of control if you're not careful with it. But I just think that there's so many different hunters right now that can handle him without a problem.
Well, I know an assassin that can handle him. What a nice combo from energy there. iRaffer just timed that Cataclysm to perfection and goes, you know what, Adapting? That was such a nicely timed up for me. I'm going to steal the kill with my basic.
That was...
Boom.
That's rough.
That was nasty.
There's nowhere to go.
Nope, no escape whatsoever, but it did cost NRG 2 esports. Sorry, 2 ults, 2 esports.
2
ults to kill off that Kespainify. So now they're going to be a little bit careful around the Gold Fury, but iRaffer happy to tank for days here with Yammyn and Emilitoo and adapting on zone duty. Look at the rest of Burrito. Not even on this side of the map. Fusify just being zoned out by adapting alone.
And also, I think that it's just the control and handle that NRG are displaying.
Adapting, swinging between tier 1, tier 2. Panther finds him. I don't think he likes that idea. No ultimate available for adapting here, so remember that is no further aggression really allowed. But he wants to make sure that they're not looking at that portal demon. Fusify's only a couple of hits from death. The minions coming into play to help him out. The frenzy pop for Kespainify now to look to chase down emilitoo.
And he's trying to turn this, but if he's not careful, Emil could very well turn it again. And he's going to be just fine farming out. The waves were able to connect, saving Emil from being further aggressed on. But like I said, I don't think he was really in all that much danger, but the different story for Dzoni is Adapting's looking to try and take him out.
Well, Dzoni was just looking for the red buff. The bad news is Adapting had already taken it, but Adapting surrounded by 3 is playing Serqet. Some of a quick death bane ambush combination. He's back to safety for a moment and can even pick up the farm in mid.
Jumping into a meatball. Getting that double jump effect.
Oh, Dzoni going to ult Adapting, slow him down. Not going to continue chasing, surprisingly enough. A little bit worried about Yammyn in backup. On the left-hand side, the Oracles have been started by iRaffer with emilitoo coming in. And Burrito are going to be a little bit too late to contest those.
I like that play by NRG. I like the secure the Oracles and then just back off. Go into your lanes and just farm it up safely. But I think what Dzoni was looking for onto Adapting there was hoping that his cooldowns were still unavailable, because had that come just a little bit sooner, they might have been able to find the kill onto him. Unfortunately, it's a Serqet, and at the end of the day, it's so hard to catch out a Serqet.
emilitoo with a 2-level lead here up against Kespainify. Using Caldeir just to tank a couple of tower shots so he can get a little bit more damage out and continue to poke down Kespainify. Keeps causing him problems.
Oh, he just wants to be in Kespainify's face the entire time. That is such an easy thing for a Skadi to do as well.
Fusify versus iRaffer. Not much to talk about other than the fact the ward wall went the way of Burrito, I believe, there for a second. No, actually, sorry. NRG, I believe it was. DeathPanter out of mana in the mid lane, just being poked out by Yammyn. Player damage. You can see it's all energy so far.
Those in-hands from Yammyn hurt.
Oh, yeah, they do. Especially when you look at the build he's going to, because obviously he just scales with a bit of magical damage too. Tier 1 tower is slowly coming down as Dimi rotates around the corner.
Oh, this tower's dead.
And with that pressure, is he a free tier 1?
There's no contest from Burrito, and really they couldn't contest. That tower is just way too low of health. But now this opens up the portal demon aggression. And Burrito, they've got the ward coverage. They know that it's happening, but they can't respond in time.
Too little, too late. Fusify is now going to dash in, doesn't even find Dimi. And even with the Permafrost down, NRG are happy with just taking the portal demon for free, walking away once again. The one thing Burrito are looking to do is counter-engage, using Terra, using Nemesis, and maybe some Vulcan ultimates. But NRG is just not giving them the chance to. And even if they did get the chance, that Nemesis ult isn't going to do as much when iRaffer can just throw the shield on the target they go for.
Burrito are kind of just falling victim to the NRG effect, where NRG are just doing whatever the hell they want, and there's zero response to it.
I'm pretty sure what I'm seeing from Brace of Undoing so far, Taco, as on the right-hand side, DeathPanter will fall down there to Adapting and Dimi's pressure under the tier 1 tower. What I'm seeing from Brace of Undoing is it making 2 tanks become 4 tanks. That's what it's kind of coming across as to me.
It's like an entirely new health bar all at once, and it's absolutely insane just how much healing and the cooldown reduction that comes through from it.
emilitoo in a lot of trouble. No Wild Hunter hitting this time, using the Permafrost to juke out. iRaffer turns up, Yammyn turns up, and now Kespainify's the one in trouble. Caldeir comes into play again. It immunes a lot of the damage thanks to the Aegis and gets away. emilitoo that was left alone because the rest of his boys were too busy trying to get a kill. Then he gets soloed by his support.
And unfortunately for him, Kespainify is actually going to get out of danger. And now it's Yammyn just trying to lock down Fusify. Juke's pretty strong. Knock up good from iRaffer. Fusify, though, he's going to have his dash soon pretty.
Well, but he's going to dash the wrong way, and that's going to cause him a lot of problems because eventually he will die. There's a fight on the right-hand side still going on as Fusify is just trying to waste NRG's time because Dzoni on the other side is dying too. Even though Fusify survived a while, Dzoni's still in trouble.
And right now, Adapting, he doesn't have his ultimate available, so if he wants to dive this, it's going to be just off of cooldowns alone. Unable to find it, though, and that's 2 members of Burrito getting out of pretty sketchy situations.
Dimi no ultimate available to really dive this tower. Also, his Brace of Undoing is down too, so he couldn't even reset off that. But with iRaffer turning up now in a full minion wave, Sibi's got 3 in his lane to handle here, and DeathPanter's not going to be in time to defend this tier 1.
NRG again. Just slowly strangling the life out of Burrito.
Yep.
Another 500 gold into their pocket, extending their lead to a little bit more than 7K. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, 11,000 experience too, but it's been a consistent lead of the gold. When you see the gold spikes coming through, it's not just the gold fury, because generally what's happening is Adapting's finding a pick with the ultimate, and it's basically on Adapting's ultimate time is when we're seeing the aggression.
And that's kind of what you expect, though, whenever you have a Serqet. It's just something that you would normally anticipate for him to just steadily look for any sort of all-in, just because that's what you do best. You have the ultimate available, and when you're canceling out that healing, it kind of negates the thought process of Burrito maybe looking to pick up the bracers themselves.
Well, fight around the Gold Fury could happen here. Nice bit of damage coming out from emilitoo with that permafrost, just to cause a couple of issues for Burrito. But Burrito pulling the Gold Fury here. Adapting, waiting in the wings around the left-hand side. Yammyn returning from base. And Burrito changed their mind, realizing that NRG just happy to watch them poke it down and take some free damage.
You never want to let NRG just look at you. And right now it's adapting, looking at DeathPanter. He is going to be able to lock him down with the ultimate, but it's Dimi who steals it away.
Gets the kill, and now Dzoni's forced to run away too. With the Terra's Blessing still on him, it's not enough for him to be able to survive for the time. In left-hand side, though, emilitoo being chased down by the Fly brothers in this duo lane. But the bad news is the Fly brothers are in trouble. Now they're going to be aggressed on by the Whole of Energy, returning back. Cataclysm on Fusify at the same time as Kespainify is evaporated by the Supernova. Fusify still under pressure as Adapting comes in, kisses him in place, and juggled around. Fusify gonna live for a moment or two. The tier 1 tower on left now being sieged down at the same time.
And it's not just the tier 1 tower that Burrito are about to lose here. It could potentially be the T2 and the Gold Fury. emilitoo not even looking towards that gold. He's just gonna lock down this tower with Yammyn by his side.
Yeah, just send 2 hunters to a tower while the others take down the Gold Fury. And look at where Burrito on the map. Sibi's trying to farm up mid lane, and Dzoni's just trying to get his speed buff.
He's probably not used to seeing his speed buff. That's probably the main reason why he's there. Plus, he doesn't have any contest.
That's true.
Losing your duo lane in that manner just means that you're immediately thrown into a 3v5 scenario. Your tankiest member is going to be Sibi, and he can get absolutely shredded by the members of NRG.
So where exactly did this game go wrong for Burrito here? Was it just the start of the game and that moment on?
Just the start. You can't give NRG an inch because they will take a mile.
And that's exactly what they've done, just consistently pressured Burrito here. NRG will find a 2-0 here by the looks of it, which puts him in a bit of a better stead. That'll make him on 2 wins, 2 splits so far this season, with 3 more sets to go against Dig, Pappies, and Enix. But a blink from iRaffer goes straight into the walls from Fusify, and Raffer's just baiting here. He's trying to wait for his team to turn up. They're not going to be there in time, so he'll just fall back after taking some poke and wasted a blink.
I mean, even if NRG are to secure this too well, I think that this is probably one of the most important sets that they will play, because it's against a team that has that potential to take a win, just because I think the talent in E right now is so high. And speaking of high, Johnny's trying to go in onto emilitoo, who's going to be able to get away.
Fusify still aggressing emilitoo, but now he's overextended. 3-man Cataclysm from iRaffer. Adapting, just waiting around with Yammyn now coming up too. Still Dimi diving in, pushing back 4 members of Burrito. Left-hand side, Johnny's wrapped around the back here, but he's on low health and he needs to get away from this. NRG happy with the fight. Adapting blinks in on DeathPanter, going to force him out. Meanwhile, the Wild Hunt is on with the rotation coming out from Fusify and Kespainify too. But slowly but surely, NRG is slowly poking down Burrito.
Fusify running the wrong direction once he's poisoned and low health. NRG were looking to try and spread that, and I think that situation would have gone a lot more downhill for Burrito had Fusify not managed to turn around at the last second. But now they're still going to lose the Portal Demon, which is completely a win for NRG, and they're not backing or hesitating. They just want the Fire Giant.
A little bit risky, I'd say, but Burrito not going to be in position to defend this at all. Fire Giant to NRG for free, and now this game truly is a very difficult task for Burrito to get back into, because now with the Fire Giant buff, they couldn't win the fight straight up. You're going to get regeneration and more power. It's going to cause a lot more problems.
This is pretty much on NRG to throw. I don't think that Burrito really have any sort of comeback potential, even with their composition. I think that the experience gap is just too high between these two teams, and even if DeathPanter were to land a 5-man Vulcan ultimate, I just don't think the damage would be enough to even lower the health of 1 member of NRG.
Right-hand side, Dimi's going to start to siege up this tier 2 tower, bring down the minions. Got some minions coming through as well. Rest of the squad, though, sort of mixed up right now, just using that Portal Demon. Dimi's a little bit overextended here against 3 members, but emilitoo and now Yammyn going to be joining him too, and Dimi's tanky enough with a bracer and doing Annie's ultimate to actually poke down Kespainify heavily on that right-hand side on his own.
And unfortunately, that was the Vulcan ultimate, the biggest line of defense that Burrito had, used to try and deter the fight between Dzoni and the rest of NRG, but now it's Adapting left all alone with Fusify trying to play Ring Around the Rosie.
Ring around the rosy, a bucket fire. Too late. Fusify just wasted too much time doing that. Meanwhile, NRG wasted no time in getting the tier 2 tower. Adapting's going to meet Dzoni in the jungle. Dzoni is the one looking for the aggression, but with iRaffer following up too. Dzoni's in a bit of trouble. Nice ultimate coming out from iRaffer. Fantastic use of the knock knock up at the right time too. Adapting, tanking up the tower shots just to make sure he can give Dzoni a nice little kiss goodbye.
And now Adapting just jumping into that wave, trying to bring the creeps up with NRG so that they can look to siege down this mid lane Phoenix.
And now that's all they need to look for, correct? Mid lane Phoenix is an option for them, but it looks like NRG going to just look to fall back instead. Use the gold they got from all those tier 2 towers. As you can see, the gold difference between the two just off that last little skirmish, 2,500 gold to just 370 coming out from Burrito.
Pretty much doubling in terms of damage and experience gained off of those last couple of picks. And this is just rough all around for Burrito. But, you know, like we talked about before this set even started taking place, this is really just the learning process for Burrito. Being so fresh out of relegations, you don't necessarily expect this team to take a game off of NRG. If anything, that's on NRG for dropping a set.
Sure. The whole experience of your first actual split in the Pro League should all be about learning the Pro League, learning how the teams play slightly different than to ranked or competitive in the Challenger circuit. Just look at the aggression they put on, the war coverage that comes out, the small little mistakes that you may have got away with in the past that get punished so much more heavily than they used to be.
Yeah, and even the slightest mistake, all you need is one death, and that one death can determine the outcome of a game.
Exactly, and that's what you see from Rival. Rival are one of those squads that did just that. They came in, they learned, they've adapted, and now they're trying to be making run to things themselves going forward. Two layers being pressured by NRG here, though. Left-hand side and middle, with Dimi just hanging around there and the Monkey keeping DeathPanter busy. But with two Hunters on this left-hand side, that's why Burrito need to be looking to defend this one more often than the other.
Trying to play some pressure onto Yammyn, but he'll just separate away, and the Geb Shield, so hold that thought, it's going to be iRaffer trying to get things going for NRG. The Vulcan ultimate so strong, but nowhere to land.
No, emilitoo will pick up Kespainify. Sibi's still very low, Adapting, taking up too many tower shots than he would like to. Gets a bit body block there, but Raffer's shield's there in time. Fusify going to fall down too. 3 members of Burrito just sat in their base now. We're like, guys, I don't know what we can do here. At first, it looked like we're going to see NRG go for the end, but it looks like they're going for the middle Phoenix.
NRG are kind of just taking down the objectives. They want as many creeps as possible pouring into this base. I'd imagine after they secure this right-hand Phoenix, they're going to look to finally end it all for Burrito.
Yeah, right-hand Phoenix will fall down here. Min's pouring left. Still 3 members alive, 2 dead for another. Oh, scratch that. 3 members dead. 2 members alive for 10 seconds on their own here. NRG may wait for fire minions if they so choose, or they could look to end, and it looks like that could be the case here. iRaffer and Yammyn happy to tank it up. Titan is slowly falling. In goes Dzoni looking to make a big play at the end of the day, but the day is done for Burrito.
Gebben, Soul, and on top of that, a Skadi just in case. Those 3 alone are more than enough for a Titan siege, and well played by NRG. A lot cleaner in game number 2 from this veteran team.
Yeah, much, and I think that's one thing that NRG have always been known for. Game 1's a little bit sloppy and they cause themselves a couple of issues. Game 2's though, they generally step it up a little bit better and work out their kinks at the start of the game.
Absolutely no issues whatsoever from the team, and really just well played to them.
Well, we have one of the members of NRG standing by right now to have a little chat with us. Dimi, are you there?
Yo, what's up?
What's up? How's it going?
I'm doing fine, yes.
Cool. So talk to us a little bit, first of all, about that set. How did game 1 go? What exactly went wrong at the start for you guys?
Game 1 was pretty rough. I think Kenneth and Yammyn got mind-gamed in the mid lane, and I'm not really sure what happened, and after that just happened, we knew that we had to kind of wait a bit and see how we can get back into the game, which then eventually did happen, thankfully.
Now, I guess...
was unfortunate.
I guess the next question for you is, Brace of Undoing, what's going on with that? You and iRaffer really like that right now, it seems.
Yeah, the item is pretty good. Yeah, it's not much more to say. If they don't have anti-healing, it baits a lot of cooldowns and well damage, and you get more tanky and you survive. It's really nice.
And how are you guys feeling now, having that additional 3 points added to your standings as far as looking towards Valencia?
I feel like we had to take these 3 points. That's the way it was supposed to be, and I'm happy we did get them.
So I guess one of my other questions for you here, Dimi, is obviously you've got Dignitas, Enix, and Pappies left to face in the Pro League this split. Who do you reckon is going to be the hardest opposition for you to face out of those 3?
Oh, it's...
Who's going to give you the most trouble?
It's going to be Dignitas. I'm saying, yeah, I'm not going to be trolling here.
No, sure.
Dignitas, yeah.
I was for a second I thought there's a chance you could troll this, but I thought you'd be straight up. Why do you think Dig are going to be the biggest opposition for you, Dimi?
Just a lot of high caliber players that really know, like they have their own sort of playstyle with the characters they play, and they work well together as a unit, and yeah, always a good match against them.
Yeah, I mean, it's very evident. And how have you been feeling about the solo lane this split in particular? I mean, we know you've seen a lot of Osiris and Bologna. Is it kind of refreshing getting to play something new?
I feel like it's been opening up throughout this split a bit because how the way solo lanes can start, like it basically relies on the mid pressure. So even before the Death Toll nerfs, it was kind of okay, a bit dry with the Bologna every now and then. I think after the nerfs, it's been more fun, although Bologna is still very strong.
Well, she's still constantly getting banned for the time being. We'll see what happens
Yes.
to Bologna going forward. But Dimi, before we let you go, any shout-outs you want to give?
Shoutouts to all the fans. Gladly appreciate you watching us every time. Shoutouts to NRG, the sponsor, and shoutouts for my girlfriend for being amazing.
Oh, shouts to the girl. Good for you, Dimi. Fantastic. Thanks so much for joining us today. That was NRG taking on Burrito. NRG 2-0 win. Wasn't clean, though, overall.
Well, it wasn't clean, though, overall. And with a team like NRG and the way that the players are, I'm sure that they're not feeling the greatest about that. Happy and relieved to have picked up the 2-0, but NRG hold themselves to incredibly high standards. So for game one to start going the way that it did, I know that they're going to be looking to shape it up even more in the future weeks.
Well, 2 sets down, 2 to go. We'll be back after the break with the third set of Saturday.